Wait, hold on. What you mean you don't think you can save him from any pain?
He's gonna be hurt, you know. I mean, he is hurting. Sometimes he fights with his friends, or he's sad about something, or you know, his dad and I, we are not together, and he told me that he's sad about that. So, and he'll be making painful experiences in life. This
Okay.
is just life.
Well,
So
I
I
mean,
won't
you
be able
can
to
save
save
him
him
from
from that.
some pain, don't you think?
Yeah, and I do as much as I can, as long as it's conscious, and I know when I see it, I will do anything to save him from it. And one of the answers I found is to really practice unconditional love. And that sounds like nothing, but it's really the one thing that I think that cures people. And when he was born, I looked at him and I knew who he was. And I swore to myself I would never change him.
Okay.
My task from then on was to accept him as he is, as I see him and as I understand him, and never demand anything else of him.
Okay. Mm.
This is not an interview. There is no format. This is simply a conversation about life.
I joined the track team when I was in high school. I joined the track team. And I did all the practices and whatever. And then we went for the first track meet. My mom even bought me some cool track shoes and all of this stuff or whatever. And this is when I first learned about having this this performance anxiety thing or whatever. I had never felt like this before. Right before the race I was in, I was like shaking so bad. I was like trembling. And I ran the race. But after this, I never went back to the track field to practice. The locker, I never went back and got the sneaker. I left everything and I never came back. And I wonder if this could have been a teachable moment for me where my parents could have stepped in and said, okay, just finish out the year or try it again or go back or like, you know what I mean? And what would you do in this kind of situation?
Well, I have these kind of situations almost on a daily basis. You know, there are things I want him to do, doesn't want to do. Like he was in a swimming course, and pretty much every time we have to go there, the story starts with, I don't want to go. So, you know, and then I have to convince him and tell him and remind him how much fun it is. And often when he comes out of it, he's so released and he loves swimming. And they ask him to join the team and be in competition to other. He's not a competitive person. He just does not like to compete. And I told him, now you're in the club, you know, so you'll be in competition and you'll be having extra dates. And he's like, no, I won't do it. And I said, well, we'll see about that. And I think I would never force him. Like if he were to cry or to, you know, I wouldn't want to traumatize him by forcing him to do something. But I will do everything in my power to convince him. And that's a different thing. You know, I would not let it slide just like that. But for instance, we tried soccer. He was on the field half an hour already. He came running to me crying because the guys there, the boys are a little rough and he's not a rough one. And he was just like crying. He's like, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, okay, you don't have to. You know, you don't have to do anything that you suffer through. And it's the same with food. Sometimes he doesn't like things. And I know this is just acting up. And I said, well, you have to try it at least. But then there's food that he really doesn't like. You know, he's like, well, I don't want this. And then I go, I don't have to eat it. we'll fix something else. I mean, it's a balance. I mean, I have to find out if it's an acting up, if anything can be done about it. And he doesn't get to decide everything, but I will never force him to do things that he's really not wanting. Really, really. I mean, if he starts crying, and that's the end. If he starts crying to me, it's like, oh, no, he really means it.
Okay. See, now I well, let me ask you this. What does his father think about this style, this parenting style?
He's more forceful. Well, he's more forceful, and that's a good thing. We have different roles, and I keep saying you don't have to do things as I do, because I think it's important for him to have different influences in his life. I think my role is a little bit different than that of his father. Like, the father he's not that scared. I mean, he would just, when he was a baby, he would take him and just toss him onto the ceiling, and my heart was going, thinking he's gonna just, smash onto the ceiling and then come flat down. And my heart was just dropping each and every time. And this is a good thing, that a child learns that people can be different with him. And I think with his father, he learns more courage than with me. And I tell him, that it's okay. But I can't hold the feeling.
Yeah. Because I wonder what the long-term effects of this can be, because as adults, we are forced into all kinds of situations we don't want to do, and crying will not get us out of any of it. You know what I mean? Well, actually, crying might get you out of a speeding ticket once in a while or something like that, or but it's one of those things where when you think about the fact that you will have to compete for your job, or you have to compete for a position, or compete in all kinds of things. You have to, if he falls in love or something, and he might have to, I don't know if you compete for your partner or whatever, but like, so, and but I don't know, maybe it's early for these things to learn these kinds of lessons, or I don't know how soon you're supposed to, you know what I mean? Like, how soon are you supposed to offer a pushback against this desire to not, you know what I mean?
I think the parents have different roles, really. The mother, this is how I feel, should provide security and care. And I can't, he feels me. When I'm afraid or I'm scared of something for him, he feels it anyways, without me saying anything. He just knows. It's because we were symbiotically bonded. There's like this, he just feels me. And I think I don't have to act as his father does. And it's okay, because with me, the love that we have is the love that we will be step by step growing a little bit apart without losing the bond. That's the magic. He will move away from me. This is totally natural, and he has to do that. But he doesn't have that experience with his father. And the father doesn't have the experience with him either. They don't share that moment. So it's totally okay for the father to take that role. And it's totally okay for me to take the role of being the more, cuddly, and not only cuddly, I mean, he cuddled, but being the one who's more taking care of him in terms of emotional needs and so on. The father doesn't do that so much. They don't talk much about how he feels. He's of the opinion, he doesn't need to tell me, he just needs to do what I say. Which is okay, as long as I provide him with with something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I also think that children really need parenting. I don't think that it's enough to have one parent.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say parenting, I don't necessarily mean that it needs to be the biological mother or father, but people who take upon that role.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be more than one.
Mm-hmm.
Because with each and every person, the child learns something new.
Yeah.
And I can't give him everything because I'm not everything. I can give him that which I think he needs from a mother, but this is my assumption. I don't know what that means for the future, if that would be enough. But what I can say is the first and foremost thing that needs to happen is unconditional love. And that is what I can give to my son.
Right on, right on.
And that's why I feel safe with everything he does.
Okay, okay. All right.